the only way to find liberation is to become aware of the trauma in the root chakra that keeps you trapped in the lower 3 chakras, and you can't control your appetite. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is another book, I believe, that's showing you. So I sent him this picture because all of these people in the back is forming this egregor in the front, and they are unaware that they're doing it, right? But that's just the art for the imagery to understand how it works. So you got egregors, mobs, and demons. A malevolent thought form is called a demon, right? When you purify your ego, you can see the thought form or the error in the thought clearly, right? This is what they call in Dianetics the engram, which is an implanted thought that's supposed to take you away from your realization of the self, right, in the great egregor. And mobs is an egregor that's being controlled by the lower instincts of survival and fear. This is what gives you riots. The difference between a riot and a march is the control of the egregor at the base level, right? So let's go to the next one. I want to try to get to all of these before we just go into Q&A. So this is another explanation that'll help you understand it better, right? This is the different types of people that make up an egregor, right? So you start from the bottom, and it say egregorial idlers. These are people fascinated by various ideas, spending a lot of time for each devotion, or what we call devotees. Then you got egregorial puppets. People fulfill the complex and supported in life by egregor idea as compensator, a kind of sectarian. These are the ones, this is where divide and conquer is played at, on this energy level of the egregor. Then you got egregorial leaders, priests at the top of the egregorial pyramid and obtaining feeding from the egregor. They vary due to variation of egregorial dynamics. In other words, when the great mind is trying to do something, these priests is the ones that's manipulating the ones on the next level down. Right. But it doesn't work on the ones that's called idlers because they born locked into a devotion they can't escape as a birthright.
Wow.
And this is why the strongest ones stay at the bottom the longest. Okay, then the next one up is person of egregor mass. Common persons ridden by the influence of many egregors and led by them. His thinking varies moderately since the influence of differently oriented egregors is mutually compensated. This is your 80%. These are the ones that the egregorial leaders can lead from being of a lower station than them. They can still be led by the infiltration of artificial egregors created by the egregorial puppets.
Wow.
Right? Now you got what's called your super egregorial players. These is what you would call the gods of the earth. Shielded from egregors, people created egregor controlled only by their will or intention. Now, when you at this level, you can see all the way to the bottom. That's the po-righteous teachers you trying to reach.
Right.
The devotees at the very bottom is the strongest. They the ones least likely to interfere with any of the bullshit But when they see it and they know that the super egregorial players is exposing the frauds in the middle, they begin to stand up. And those are the ones we call the braves.
Go ahead.
And the ones who is identifying the frauds is the ones we call the true leaders. The leaders that carry the true light. Sound familiar, Elder?
Yeah.
Right. The true light is the light of love, which is the green light, Sufi order, homage to Pops, aka Malachi Z. Kobina York. Right? So when Baba was telling us about the book, The Mind, you ever notice that the cover of that book is green?
Go ahead. I ain't never think about that.
Yeah, the original publication paperback, it had I think that same symbol behind your head on it, and it said The Mind. That's it. So what he was telling us is, if we're gonna stay at the bottom, right, make the ones in the middle do what's right first, or become the ones at the top. There's only two options. If you're gonna get the people on the understanding of what's taking place, you either got to take out the ones in the middle. The priest is the ones waging the war against the egregorial idlers, the po-righteous teachers. And we the ones trying to tell the po-righteous teachers it's time for us to take what's ours.
That's right.
No retreat, no surrender. We not backing down and we not giving up. And the only way to lose is to surrender your birthright or abandon your birthright. You abandoning your birthright by fleeing your homeland, right? You surrender by being perfectly aware of your birthright, but telling somebody else that you came from somewhere else so that you don't have to deal with the conflict of receiving what's rightfully yours.
Right.
Right. So as the minister would say, "Oh, you scared to death ass Negroes can go sit down. This ain't your fight."
Go ahead.
Right? Because first of all, you have to be a brave heart. If you're a brave heart, Nas, right? Nasir means the light.
Go ahead.
The brave hearts is the ones that's aware of the location of the Queen's Bridge. The Queen's Bridge is the bridge over the troubled waters. And the troubled waters is the Trail of Tears. You have to go back down the Trail of Tears, even if you use the ceremony in Muskogee Creek, right? In order to do what our people was being too scared to do, so you let the motherfucking imposters do it.
Right.
You let the ones they send to replace you do it because they the ones who sent to undermine you. So you turn about it being fair play. Right? They all been placed on notice. Right? So let's go to the next slide. This right here is individuals feeding into the universal mind. Right? This is a good depiction because this is like you being a laptop. The internet is your link into the cloud right there. The brain that you see is the cloud. The land you see is your link, and the individual is your phone or your laptop or your tablet, right? In order to tap into that big brain as your primary thought source, you have to fill up your internal hard drive, right? Which makes your short-term memory have to bypass the hard drive because it's full to get the right answer from the big brain up there. And this is where you get, if two or more come together in my name, I'm there also. It's talking about the universal mind. That's a depiction. Next slide. Now, you got different groups of people thinking different stuff. This is what it looked like. So you got your religious conscious community, right? Egregore of a social group. You got your working people, your egregore of a company, right? Then you got your neighborhood, your egregore of the neighborhood. Every city got an aura over it. The aura can be seen as a ray of light when you're coming out of the darkness, coming up on the city.
Right.
Right? You look like a big dome of light over it. That's the egregore over the city. In order to clean them egregores up, right, you got to get them in harmony. Harmony is done through the synthesis of the different instruments. The different instruments is the different players at the top of the egregore chart.
Uh-huh.
All of them is what you call collecting the masters.
Uh-huh.
Right? Everybody in the music industry know that if you don't got the masters, you don't have anything.
Right.
Right? You at the mercy of the record company. In the middle, you got the company. Right? But you trying to liberate the community by what you did in your social group as a form of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to bring them all together. This is why you have what you call conscious music. Right? And even sometimes what appears to be bass and vowel music is still bringing your awareness to the egregores operation in order for you to know what need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next slide.
Well, we went over that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is JFK. I forgot why I sent you this one with this. It's like there's a plot in this country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I plan to expose this plot. 7 days later, he was assassinated. Right? This is what we're talking about. Right? And so you can go to the next one. When you understand what he was talking about, that we was being enslaved, it makes sense. Now, this is getting to the part where you learning how we become informed enough to take control of the collective unconscious and move the great egregore. The 100 monkey effect is a phenomenon in which a new behavior or idea is spread rapidly by unexplained means. This is where Albert Einstein calls spooky action at a distance. They can't explain it. From one group to all related groups, from one part of the egregore to all of the rest of them, regardless of geographical location, once a critical number is reached, don't give up. We call that critical mass. You know what I've been saying all the time? We're trying to get to critical mass of awareness before everything happens. Now we passed it now. We passed the event horizon, right? So now Horus is rising. We about to see the Aten, the known God expressed in the self, out in the open, right? So the 100 monkey effect is getting them ones at the bottom to become active with the egregore, because they the only ones that can rise all the way to the top, because they were strong enough to hold it up from the bottom. Right? Next slide. Now, this is another reference book that helps you with a deeper understanding of what egregores are. They use this science of the egregore to do conjure work, spellcraft, and what we call magic. Right? Now, you notice it say the occult entities that watch over human destiny. Right? That because when you are not in physical form, you part of the universal egregore, watching the ones in physical form play out this game. We playing a universal chess game because we know we gonna come back. And by the changing and controlling of the egregores, meaning the thinking processes of the entities or the people, it gives the collective egregore the energy to drive us to a singularity in order for the reset. Next slide. Okay, that's from the other one. That's from the other class. Yeah, I think that was all of those.
That's it. All right. Yeah, we had an hour or something. All right, yeah.
So at this point, we should know that the individual mind ready? So at this point, we should know that the individual mind feeds into the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind feeds into the universal mind. We should also be aware that two people creates another mind, two or more people, as a mastermind group, right? And two or more people can program the mastermind that they create with the mastermind group by writing down in two-dimensional reality the purpose of the egregor. When you write down the purpose of the egregor or the thought form, you are telling it what to do, how to do it, and where to go, who to get, and all of these things happen what seems like magically, right? Because the egregor you create go into the universal mind and make all the necessary connections to bring into reality the things that you are working on as a group, right? So Malachi sent me a message to do an open study group, how we will be doing in the esoteric Nubian class that's not open to the general public. This is right here is a metaphysical class that is above the heads of 98% of the people, right? But the few that's interested going to go to the references and go deeper into the understanding, and that's going to raise their levels, right? So all of us being working together comes full circle with the public service announcement earlier, right? So once you understand that you can create your reality by how you think, and your thoughts should change how you feel. You should feel like you already did the thing you're trying to accomplish. It's the only way you can convince yourself to accomplish it. Because now you know what it feel like. You know what you need to do to attain the feeling. We're trying to get to heaven on earth. So let's go to Q&A so we can clear up some understandings, because this was a real complex thing jammed into a short period. It can affect you depending on how strong your individual willpower is, right? And it's why when you look at leadership, it seems like a leader is stubborn, can't nobody tell them shit. That's called strong-willed, right? And it always comes down to the will of the few versus the will of the many. But you're going to have what we call leaders emerge organically, and those were the leaders they was trying to subdue. When an organic leader rise, you know, because tribes form around them naturally according to nature. And that's how you can see a chief at an early age, by watching children on the playground. He gonna be either a Zeta, which means he's a loner, or he gonna be the Alpha, which means he's taking charge. Now, when it ain't no alphas out there and the Zeta ain't gonna take charge, the betas will take charge, but it will be all kind of chaos on the playground. We know by looking at the children at an early age who's who and what's what.
A question. Somebody said, let me post this question. He says,
I was gonna ask you, you can pin them up as we go. So am I intelligent, or is it common for everyone to understand what you explain? It's not common for everybody to understand what I explain. That means that you probably tapping into your God self already before you even seen this class. How can we find our tribe, or how will we be contacted if we're the chosen ones. The point of contact will be different for different people. Some people will be contacted through their family. Some will be contacted by government means, right? As far as finding your tribe, you live with them. And you have to go back to the family lines. You know who you related to. Them is your tribes, the ones that you related to that feel like you do. But then you got other tribes within your family that's going to tribe up separate. Y'all